Hello, greetings. I'm Josh Gaines, and if you have found your way to this video, I am here to give you some useful tools that I have found over the past 4 years or so to get into cryptocurrency, even if you have never done it before, even if you consider yourself a lay person in that regard, that you don't really understand how this works. You don't really understand what blockchain is or gas or all of that. You've heard Bitcoin thrown around, but it can maybe seem kind of intimidating to get into, and I get it. And so you can jump ahead to the chapters if you would like about the specific apps that I use, the tools that I use that are free, by the way, if you want. But I would love if you listen to the whole thing, because I would like to share my personal philosophy and experience around these things, which I believe is unique and a little bit counter to the investor culture, different than the Wall Street bets guys or, crypto bros or whatever. I'm not one of those guys. Look at my channel. I'm not like a crypto guy. My channel is music and art and interviews and a show about hacking reality by playing it like a video game through, and I do a podcast called Zeitgeist. So my channel is many different things. It's not centered around crypto. However, this is something that I am passionate about and that I have used personally to, influence my life greatly. And it is a tool that has saved me in certain moments of life and that I continue to engage with in my own way to this day. So I want to start off by saying, because I am legally obligated to, this is not financial advice. These are anecdotal stories of things that I personally have chosen to do, and you can take this information and do with it what you like, but I am not suggesting that you do anything. Back in 2021 is when I started to learn about cryptocurrency. I started to educate myself on it, not knowing anything at that time, and used YouTube, used various online tools, used Reddit guides, and had to feel out and filter out what was real and what was a scam. But it's just that it's like in my personal life and in my peers and those surrounding me, I find that people are still not engaging with this really. The general public, the mass, audience is still not using this tool. And I believe that someday it will be ubiquitous. It will be the primary form of currency that we will use out at brick and mortar stores and online, that we will be paying with some form of crypto everywhere we go, as opposed to cash or a Visa card. I know these tools already exist to use crypto out there in the world, but it's so mix and match and archaic and confusing, and it's eventually going to become far more easy to use and easy to enter into. And that's why I believe it's useful to start getting into now and educating yourself even a little bit now. So first I'm going to talk about my philosophy on these things and what I have learned along the way. But yes, 2021 was a useful time to be learning these things, because that was when the market exploded like it never had before, and Bitcoin reached its all-time high at that moment of around $64,000, whereas earlier in the year it had been at 18,000. And it's like, I just felt intuitively, basically, I kept hearing it thrown around. No one in my life was engaging with crypto, but I was hearing enough about it and curious what it was, if it was a scam, if it was only for the ultra rich, if it only was for highly educated Wall Street investors. And so did some investigating myself. And at that moment in time, had a large chunk of money from a home that I had sold in Denver, the only home I have ever owned and ever sold, and I don't own a home now. But at that moment in time also, the housing market had gone up in my favor, and I sold a home and I had a chunk of extra money. So something that I learned early on, the thing that separates the wealthy from those who are not wealthy, is that people with a lot of money, the wealthy, know to let their money work for them. whereas those with less money or those in poverty or those who are quote unquote poor tend to cling to what they have and save it and scrounge it away because there's this kind of inherent lack mindset, this lack programming that thinks, oh, what if I lose it? I can't, I need to hold on to what I have tightly. Whereas those with wealth know to put their money out in the world and let it grow. Now that's a generalization, whatever, take that from that what you will, but that statement stuck with me because at that moment in time when I was working, I would just stick money in savings and kind of had a little extra every paycheck. I would pay my mortgage, I would pay for groceries and electric and whatever else needs, and have a little bit of fun money to go out to eat or to buy something here and there. I never made a ton of money that way when I was working full time. But any extra money I had was just sitting there in a savings account, in like a bank savings account that makes absolute garbage return, like 0.5% in a year, which is meaningless. It's nothing. There are slightly better things. Like I had my money in Ally Bank for a while, which makes like 2% at the time, which is not bad, but still it's nothing. It's a few bucks, if that, every year. And so I heard that statement, the wealthy make their money work for them. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go figure out how to do this. I'm not wealthy, but I'm going to use what I have and try to make it rise, make it create gains. I taught myself how to do these things, and there are many other channels and great resources on YouTube online for free. I would recommend Crypto Casey, that her channel is quite good. I learned directly from her the most. She's very clear and concise and tells you step by step how to do these things in a more probably in the most secure way possible, and especially if you're working with tens of thousands of dollars. I also gleaned some from Sheldon Evans, although I haven't looked at his channel in years. I don't know what he's doing. I can't say that I would recommend it to this day. I don't know because I just haven't looked. But Crypto Casey was great. I don't know her personally. It's not some sort of plug, relax. I went about it the sort of conventional way of, signing up for a at the time I used Binance, which is no longer operating in the US because their CEOs were doing some shit behind the scenes. Big surprise. But it used to be, it's a crypto exchange where you put in USD, you put in American dollars from a bank deposit, and you can buy crypto and trade it around and pull it back out. And since I was working with a larger amount of money, I was moving my money off to a cold storage wallet, which is a not that complicated process, but it is costly, and every one of those transactions to move it back and forth, especially if it's large amounts of money, costs you. And so these crypto people will say never leave your money on an exchange, and I would tend to say that this is just my personal feeling, that if it's less than $10,000, you're probably fine. I always have been fine, and if you put in multiple factor steps of security within the app, use an authenticator, use a 2-step login, all this, you're gonna be fine. The fear there is that someone who just willy-nilly throws some money on Bitcoin for the first time and doesn't really take the steps to secure their account or have a great solid password, that it could easily get stolen by people who can sort of work the blockchain behind the scenes and pull that crypto from you. But if you're smart about it and you use security like you do on any other app, I personally think that you will probably be fine, but you do what you feel most comfortable with. If you want to put your money off to a cold storage wallet, go for it. So I mentioned earlier that something that I have been experimenting with in my life in general is just viewing this reality like a video game. And this gets a little metaphysical and fucking, woo-woo, but that's what I am. And if you look at more of my channel, you'll see that that is what I'm into, is just trying to understand the nature of this existence and the way that money and cryptocurrency plays into that. So as of today, the way that I personally choose to operate is that if I have $10, $100, $1,000, whatever the amount is in general, money that I make in the world, immediately I put it into crypto. And that is because I have tried to change my own way of looking at money and crypto and seeing it just as a tool, one of many tools in this existence that you can use and play with. And now I personally have tried to disassociate and let go of any idea of risk of, oh, what if I do something foolish financially, something radical, and what if I lose it? You know, that's always a factor. Some people consider that crypto is like gambling, and perhaps in some ways it is, just like the stock market. But also, I feel that the way that you look at the world in general is going to influence that. That if you have this mindset of always worrying, what if something horrible happens? What if I lose everything? What if I get in a horrible crash? What if I break my arm? What if I lose my apartment? What if I lose my job? If you're engaging with the world in a fearful mindset, then that's going to tend to be what is reflected back to you and what is going to happen to you in general. This is just the way that I feel about it. And believe me, I have engaged with my reality from a mindset of fear and lack and scarcity for a long fucking time. And I am still undoing that programming as we speak. All that to say, I've tried to view the money that comes into my life as if it's video game money, as if I'm running around completing tasks and getting gold coins. And like one of the things in the game that you can do is stick it in a little area where it will accumulate until you need it, and then you can pull it out and use it for items in the world. I mean, that is more or less exactly how I operate my life. It's okay if you think that's fucking nuts. It's okay if you think that whatever. I'm not even gonna, it's what I do. And telling you about it isn't gonna stop me. And it's kind of fun. And as someone who is interested in the metaphysical and who is interested in hacking my own reality and changing the way that I view the world and leaving behind this programming of lack and scarcity and installing a programming of abundance and growth and wealth and living in a place of ease, living in a place of a calm nervous system, of being able to live out of joy and freedom and excitement instead of fear, I have found that I have noticed a tangible difference. And that in 4 years worth of working with crypto, of investing and taking in sort of the world's view some pretty substantial risks, I personally have never had a major loss. And in fact, the majority of the time, I have only increased what I have. I'm not saying things happen. It's not as if having a mindset of abundance means everything is happy-go-lucky all the time and nothing bad ever happens again. No, of course, there are waves and changes to this existence. That's always going to be the case, but it doesn't mean that moment is going to last forever. It doesn't mean that you lose everything. It just means that this is a circumstance to notice and move through and not attach to, and that the only certainty is that moment will change, whether it is a moment of great height or of deep lows. The only certainty is that moment will change, whether it refers to finances or anything else. Okay, let me tell you a couple of stories first. I mentioned the chunk of money that I had from my house sale. And it was during lockdown that I had all this extra time of not being employed at that moment and being able to research crypto and educate myself in how to do it, I had about $36,000, which was the most money I've ever had in savings. And through investing in crypto on Binance, I turned that into $125,000. And that money paid for my divorce. It paid for rent for around 2 years, rent for me and my ex-partner. It paid for our daughter's private school. It paid for a couple of vacations. It paid for all of our groceries, all of our utilities, and was kind of this remarkable moment to watch. Now, I would imagine that most of the people watching this video have nowhere near $36,000, and that's the only moment in time that I've ever had that much also. And it was sort of a pretty remarkable, fortuitous thing that my home had accumulated that much and that we sold at just the right time in the market. And all of that plays into this story too, into the story of my own existence and working with these things and learning that I can have not only everything I need, but abundantly over everything that I need. My personal method at that time, because it was also when I was first getting into metaphysical things in 2021 at age 33, whereas the whole rest of the history of my life, I had never believed in any woo-woo shit, thought astrology was fake, didn't believe in reincarnation, past lives, meditation, none of that. I was raised as a hardcore evangelical Christian. Then I was kind of an atheist for a while, but really unsure. And then, despite all odds, find myself getting into metaphysical reading and reading about various world religions and the occult and esotericism and mysticism and all these things. And so, around this time that I'm getting into crypto, I have my first tarot deck, my deck of tarot cards. And I was like, who knows? Let's try this. So I would literally pull tarot cards based upon the coins that I wanted to invest in. And I would just go with the ones that seemed positive. And I would do this with a lot of intention and care, often, sometimes meditating beforehand and just being like, yo, listen, higher self, my guardian angels, the spirit guides that are watching over me, my ancestors, I don't fucking know. Whoever is out there, watching over what I do that has a deeper understanding of how this works than I do, I'm sort of sending up a little prayer of like, hey, I would like to engage in this in a wise way and use this tool of a tarot deck to make wise choices. And so I did. And if something had a negative or malefic card, then I would not invest. And then I would keep a log and screenshots and all this. I had an Excel document and all this, and keep track of what went up and what went down and how it correlated to the card and everything. And it fucking worked. I don't know what to tell you. It's okay if you think that's bullshit, but it's like, dude, I am still here living with an apartment and with a computer and like able to pay rent and electricity because of this whole process. So now, like I said, everything changes. It wasn't that process stopped working. It's just that synchronistically, I happened to get into crypto at a time when the market was remarkably shooting off like it really never had historically before. And so, eventually that money got chiseled down. I'm sure there were some drops, there were some losses, but still nothing major. And I swear things would happen like we get a $2,000 bill. We have some major car expense on my spouse's Honda CRV and it needs a $2,000 repair. And like I log into Binance and check my, my investments, my coins, and like they happened to have gone up by $2,000. So it was like everything was always right there. Much more recently, within the last year, there was an occasion where I had about $600 total. And that was all the money that I had in the world. This was in a moment when I was looking for new employment and in which my other strategies had kind of dried up. And so I had $600. It was all the money I had, and I still put it in crypto. Because I was like, I believe in this system and it has continuously worked for me before. I wish I could recall what specific coin I was in at that time so I could put reference to it. But overnight, in this particular moment, it was like days before rent was due, and it went from 600 to 1,300 overnight, and I pulled it out to cash, and I was able to pay my rent that month. I mean, that's like... things like that have happened over and over. Just these moments of like exactly at the right time, everything comes through. Let me tell you one other thing. So I still use these tools of, sometimes I use Taro. These days, not so much. I've kind of let that go. It's still a valid and legitimate thing, but the way I engage with these things now, I just don't really feel the need to use it most of the time, unless I feel really confused about something. Mostly these days I operate off of intuition, which is by meditating, which is by sitting down, and even if it's just for a few minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, quietly calming my breath, calming my mind, slowing down my breath, I should say, and just taking some time to let the universe know, the intelligence of this universe and the highest self that I already am, just be like, hey, here are my needs at this moment, and I would like to do the following with intention and seriousness and reverence and respect. That's all it is, as opposed to just like operating out of fear or panic and worry of like, I hope I make the right choice. Oh my God, I'm going to run out of money. You know, it's just like, there's no need for that. And I still have those moments too. Anyway, these days I try to go off of intuition, trust, sometimes Taro, always meditate. And lately, angel numbers have been working pretty fantastically well. So now I use Coinbase, and I'll provide a link to that. It is a referral link, but it is free. It is a free app. I believe that you get a bonus if you start to use it, and I get a little referral bonus. But in general, it's not like I'm selling you a fucking subscription. All right, it's a free app. These days I use Coinbase because Binance doesn't exist in the US anymore. And because I like Coinbase's interface, it's easy to use on your phone, it is secure, and it just works smoothly and seamlessly, and I've never had an issue. So what I will do is just, when I get some money, I will stick it into Coinbase, and it will sit there in my cash, and I have a sort of list of my favorited coins that I keep an eye on, but it's also good to take a look at what coins are new. I will pull up a coin, look at its trend of what has it been doing in the last day, what's it been doing in the last week, what's it done over the last month, and what has it done over a year, and look at those dips and rises, and even in down to the specific digits in the percentage or the value of the coin. If I see one that's like 444, 222, 333, 111, 888, I will take that as a little wink from the universe that my consciousness is happening to look at that coin in that moment, and that is a sign to move forward with that one. And I hand on a fucking Bible, it has worked. So I have learned, this is my personal story about this. Does seeing an angel number means it goes up immediately overnight? No, not per se. And you just gotta play with this and feel it out intuitively from a place of calm and ease and trust. Sometimes it has taken a whole week to go up. But I mean, that I can think of, it has never been wrong. And so I use my own intuition and just sense of trust, and and feeling these things out. And I've done it enough to where I know my kind of rhythm. This has gotten me through some serious moments. This has met my needs and risen the money that I had up to the level that it needed to be for that moment in life, for that expense, over and over and over. So yes, I love the angel numbers lately. And I've noticed, at least for me, that overthinking and worrying and fretting and fearing and impulsively checking it every couple hours is pretty much unnecessary and useless. It's understandable. It's understandable to be nervous about putting real money that does real things in the world into a place and feeling unsure about that, especially at the beginning. But the more I have found for me, the more calm I am about it, the more I treat it like Monopoly money or like video game money. That's just like, you know what? I have been shown over and over that my needs are met exactly in the perfect timing, and that I do have spirit guides or whatever you want to fucking call it. I don't even really know, but I just have learned to trust that. There is an intuitive voice. There are higher intelligences looking out for us, and they know that in these funny little bodies that we live in, that we need money in this world to exchange and keep living, at least for now. This is like the way that our video game works right now. So, I mean, truly, I feel the more you can have fun with it, the more you can be playful, the smoother it tends to go, and the more fun it is. And just trying to not cling to it and to not view it as a risk. There are so many, especially like people of my father's generation, who would hear this as insanity, as so irresponsible and such a risk, and putting my life in jeopardy and being financially irresponsible, and that I should put my money into some fucking 401k where it sits there with Fidelity for 30 fucking years and maybe makes a return of like 15%. Fuck off. That's boomer talk, dude. Literally. That way, it doesn't have to operate that way. But I mean, honestly, if you have a fucking Venmo account, or if you have a Cash App account, you can also put money into your Venmo or into your Cash App, and you can invest from there. Now, these are far more limited exchanges. I wouldn't really recommend putting large dollar amounts over $1,000. I mean, do what you want. Do what you want. Again, this is not financial advice. Yikes. But if you have a Venmo, you already have access to this. This is what I'm saying. It's easier to step into than you think. And when you put your money in, it's not like it's locked up there forever. You can put it in and pull it out in the same day if you want to. Now, you're going to pay a little bit of fees on Venmo. I believe it's just a flat $2.99 fee, regardless of the dollar amount, whether you're putting in $5 or $1,000. If I'm not mistaken, it might be percentage based now because these things do change. But if you have Venmo, you can buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin and a couple others. There's maybe a handful. Cash App is even more limited. It might just be Bitcoin. I tend to like Cash App better because I feel like their fees are lower and their withdrawal fees are lower as well, that you can immediately deposit money into your bank. You can pull it out instantly. Venmo has this 2 to 3 day deposit wait time, and if you do it instantly, their fee is higher. So I've used it before myself, but I tend to prefer Cash App when it comes to this. But I don't know. I would say if you are interested in at least dipping your toe in this, then you can use your Venmo if you like. You can use your Cash App and just throw $10 in there and see what happens. Throw $20, throw $50. You engage with the amount of risk that you feel comfortable with. You may not be like me and put every dollar that you have including your rent money for that month into crypto. It's okay if you think that's unwise. I get it. That's just the way I've chosen to do it because I'm a fucking maniac and it works for me. But I've also trained myself to have a lot of trust for this. Okay, I'm going to tell you about one more synchronistic moment as it refers to the universe reflecting itself back to me. And then I'm going to tell you about two more services that I think are pretty fucking cool. This was about a month ago. So on Coinbase, a new coin had become available. It's kind of like these many, many thousands of cryptocurrencies exist out in the world. They all serve their own function on the blockchain. They engage with various networks, and you can educate yourself on each individual coin. And there are some who choose to invest in the long term, that they are perhaps putting their money, for example, into Ethereum, and they are holding that money for years and years with the hopes of, a great return one day because their financial needs are met and they have a good job. That's one way to do it, and that's certainly fine. Any extra money, you could almost view it like a savings account that's going to accumulate over time in most cases. But so one of the new coins that had come out on this day, because I got a little notification on my phone from the Coinbase app, was this protocol called Cow. Yeah, Cow coin, It's like, all right, what the, and you go read about it and it's like a bunch of gobbledygook gibberish that very smart tech nerdy crypto people understand and that I only kind of do. But I was like, okay, I didn't put any money in that. But so Cow protocol comes out. Then Joshy goes about his day, hanging out with my friend. And somewhere in the conversation, from his mouth, not mine, cows come up. It was something specific about slaughterhouses. I know it's a weird point of reference, but slaughterhouses come up. Okay. Didn't even really think anything of it in that moment. Hanging out with that same friend through the night, we watch a movie in which one of the main characters is constantly dressed as a cow. This is all within the same 18-hour period. So that's a pattern of 3. This doesn't happen often for me, but when it does, I have learned to listen to it. So I'm like, cow, 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 all 3 in one day. In my general world, I don't tend to hear about cows that often. So when something repeats itself to me 3 times in a day, that is what some people call a coincidence, and what I have learned to look at as a little wink, like a little ping, a little red flag from the universe, or a green flag maybe, of just like, hey, notice. Hey, Josh, we're reflecting back a little flash to your awareness. It's like, hey, something about cows. And so I was like, later that night, know what I did? I put all the money that I had into the new coin Cow protocol on Coinbase. And lo and behold, within a week's time, I also set little notifications for each individual coin when I am invested in one, that I will get a ping if it has moved above a certain dollar point or percentage point, so that I know in the moment, in real time, if it has risen. I get a notification that it's like, Cow protocol is up 5% in the last 5 hours. And then I open my Coinbase app, and for whatever reason, like a week after I had put my money into it, it is shooting up. And so I waited until it reached its approximate peak as well as I could tell. And then I pulled my money out and I turned $230 into about $500. And that's so rarely heard of in the conventional investment world. And so it's like all of a sudden I turned 230 to 500. And for my life lately and the amount of money I'm working with, that's pretty substantial. And that's the whole point of this video is just trying to encourage or at least inform those of you who may be similar to me, not working with a great deal of funds at any given time, but that even the amount that you have, you can work with it if you are open to accepting some risk and open to kind of holding that with a loose hand and letting go of fear and anxiety around it. So that one was quite on the nose. And like I said, that doesn't happen often, but it is like the more at ease that I am around these things, the more calm I am. Those kind of synchronistic moments seem to present themselves in the most random, unexpected ways. And all I'm saying is that I've learned to listen to it and to notice it. So I'm going to talk about two more things, and then I'm going to wrap up this video. And thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to this. I do hope it is useful to you, and you can join my Patreon for free. Now, it's not a bunch of crypto stuff. It's all kinds of things that pertain to my art. It's many more episodes of Zeitgeist that have to do with me engaging with my reality and reporting back to you about the results as I'm figuring out what the fuck is going on here at any given time. But I would encourage you to follow the link in the description to my Patreon and just join, just follow along and see what happens. And I would encourage you to listen to my old episodes because there's a lot of good stuff in there as it pertains to the occult and esotericism and art and consciousness and awareness and meditation and all that kind of stuff. And again, it is free. You can pay if you want, but otherwise everything is free if you join as a free member. So for the last couple months, talk about cryptocurrency tools. For the last 3 months, I think, maybe more, I've been using Helium Mobile. And this is a service that for $21.99 a month, I have been getting unlimited internet service, data and streaming and all that, and it has worked absolutely seamlessly, no matter where I am. And I left behind my Xfinity account, which had gotten up to like $140 a month or something. It all starts nice with any given mobile service that it's like, hey, it's only $65 a month for such and such a time. But then after that period of time, it starts building up and it's like, okay, $15 more this month, $25 more. And it had gone from 70 to 140 or whatever. And I was like, God, so fucking much. So I want to tell you about this service, Helium Mobile. Again, this is not a fucking sponsored video, but I am putting my referral link because I get a little something if you sign up through my code, and you actually get a little something. But this is a crypto-based phone data service, and it is an app that you download, and as long as your phone is fully paid off with your current carrier, it will not work if you still have a lease on your phone or if you're paying it off month by month. But if you fully own your own device, whether Android or iPhone, then you install this app and you sign up and they transfer your PIN, your SIM that is, and you get to keep your current number. You get unlimited data and calls and texts, and it works fucking great. And each day that you use your own phone, just driving around the world and using your data, it works like it pings the network back to itself. So you as a user, as you are actively using their data, it is gleaning information from the world from something they call hexes. And this gets into jargon that may not make sense to some of you, it will. But basically, you as a user are supporting the network while the network is supporting you. And you get a little incentive every day for using the network, which is around, at this point for me, it's around 600, sometimes 700 coins of the mobile coins, which is worth real money. And so these accumulate over the month, and once a month, you can cash out for free and just use those coins to pay for your mobile bill. I'm going to show on screen what these are worth. So, of course, the coin itself goes up and down in value. But for the last few months, I've been paying almost nothing. My phone service is covering itself, is what I'm saying. Because the amount that the coin is worth and the amount that I accumulate each month by just using my phone each day, it pays for itself. And the more people that sign up and are using this network, the stronger it will become. And the more people that invest in this network, the more the coin will accumulate. So I'm going to show on screen a screenshot that I took of when the coin was at its highest ever, which I believe was December 2023. And so based upon the coins that I have accumulated this month, this is a real screenshot of what I have at this moment from just using this web service. Based on that calculation, I would have had something around $157. So it's just, not only am I getting phone service for free, but I'm making real money. And this will only grow as more people are aware of it. How many people in your life have heard of Helium Mobile? Probably none. So yeah, it's fucking niche. It's not widely known, but it is real and it's there and it's been working for me and it's not a fucking gimmick. So use my referral code and sign up and stop paying for your mobile account, your data service every month, and essentially have your phone, internet, and calling service pay for itself. All right, the last one I'm going to speak to is Pi Network. This is a network. This is a free app that you download. You once every 24 hours click a little button, and it's like you've heard of mining Bitcoin. So Pi is another form of coin that you mine on the tiny computer that is your phone. And so once a day, it will prompt you to click a button and mine, and your little phone in the background is finishing operations. It is completing transactions, I should say. And as a reward, you accumulate coins. I'm going to show a screenshot as well of the actual amount that I have at the moment. Some folks have much more. So at this moment in time, this is the coin's approximated worth. It is not yet available in the real world as tradable for real money, because Pi Network has to do a thing called moving to the mainnet, and that is when it is publicly available to trade on cryptocurrency exchanges. It is not available as of this moment, and it may take years for that to happen, but it doesn't cost me anything, and in fact, it is creating a investment for the future for me to click my little phone once a day and get some of these coins that are sitting there and that are worth real money, and that eventually they will be able to be traded in or sold or exchanged. So get on Pi Network. It's pretty fun. It's easy building up this network of a coin that serves a real function in the world, and you can read more about it if you like. But just another free tool. So Coinbase, Cash App, Venmo, Helium Mobile, and Pi Network, those are all free apps that do not require a subscription, that I use personally, that I am referring you to because they have been beneficial to my own life. So I think that's it. I think, I just want to be encouraging to you to realize that, one, cryptocurrency is more accessible than you may think. It is going to become more and more prominent in this world. Bitcoin, as of this recording, is somewhere around $72,000, $73,000 per coin. And eventually all of the Bitcoin that can be mined will be mined, and it will be much more widely used in the world, and each individual coin is going to be worth massively more than that. And so the earlier that you are engaging with these things, learning to use them, the better, and more to your own benefit. And that it is this remarkable investing tool that you can use day to day and put your money in and pull your money out I would like those of you who don't have as much money as others to at least know is available to you, and to know that it has radically helped my life in some pretty tricky moments. There are times when I don't even understand how well it has gone. But yeah, so go listen to my other episodes. Zeitgeist, it's just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on in this consciousness at all times. Aliens are real, of course, as we all know. And I hope you're doing well. I know things seem bleak. We're coming up on an election. Yikes. And I know it's easy to get lost in the turmoil of what is happening all around, that everything costs so much. The world is in economic downturn. And it seems like everything is fucked all the time forever. It seems like everything is getting worse all the time. And I just want to encourage you that perhaps that is not the case, and that there is a beautiful, most ideal outcome for all of us, but most importantly, that you personally can change your mindset around these things, and that you can have a sense of calm and ease in your body and in your nervous system and in your mind, and that you do not have to get swept up and lost in the fucking doom, terror, hellscape of what is supposedly happening out there. I just mean you're in control of your own reality, and the more that you believe that and play with that, you will discover that it is true. It doesn't mean hard things don't happen. It doesn't mean you won't be challenged, but you can relax. You can be at ease. You do deserve to enjoy this life because you are the fullness of everything, the utmost pure divine awareness, living out this experience of a body in this moment of time. So, all right. I'm going to put the links to things and the QR code. Subscribe if you feel like it. I make good things. I also make good art if you want to buy some. Just trying to help out my little circle of influence, trying to reflect some kindness and joy and excitement back into this world. And to be like, hey, what if we're not fucked? What if best possible outcome? Let's think about that. Be on the lookout for cows.